We are live. Hello, everyone. It's Cheryl and Kathy hanging out with you. I know we haven't sat down. Ooh. Ooh, I'm talking over here too. I've got this. We did an update. So I'm just trying, every once in a while when I do an update on eCam, the comments disappear. So I have this just in case. So if you're watching us, yay, I see my first comment from Real, which is saying, hi from soggy Milwaukee. I'll be eating lunch while you're chatting. Excellent. And hopefully your kitchen renovation is going really well. It's super cloudy and kind of cold. Cool.
Cold. It's kind of got a
40s,
briskness
50s,
to it.
But it's not like...
But it's like a really cold 40s, 50s.
Well, it's really, really wet.
Yeah.
It's been raining. I feel like... I guess it wasn't raining that much yesterday. It rained a lot.
It's been raining a lot.
It's been raining a lot. So, and we've been trying to do all the things, but I don't think we've had just a check-in call, you and me, all month.
No, I don't think we have. Because I was busy with work stuff, and I had to go into the office during one of them. I think that was the one with you and Stacy.
Yeah, the last one with Stacy, you weren't here. I think you were here with the one before that. Mm. And I see Diana's here, and Robin is here. Lisa is here. Lisa is here. Real, Patsy, Justine, Jazz, Kimmy, and I'm wondering if it's Anita is the Facebook user. I'll see if I can see that somewhere too.
Well, good. That means that it is actually working on Facebook.
Oh yeah, no, it just asked me to relog in.
Okay.
So there's lots of little things behind, and Melina and Mona and Jill and all the people. It is so good to have you guys here. So, and that's going to make me crazy. The camera has been kicked, so I've got to fix that.
Her eyes just go right to this counter, and it doesn't look level to her. And so she's going to have to level it, or she's going to lose her mind.
I think that's it, isn't it?
It's close. You come see I think there.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't want you to look at that the whole time, and I don't want to look at that the whole time either. So we've had kind of a busy January.
January is just it's been crazy time.
And it's hard to believe it's the last day of January. So farewell after today, January. And if you look down in the YouTube thing, this is also the last day of the Cozy Casserole class sale. Note, if you're in Kathy's Cooking Club, it includes these sale classes that I'm going to be doing, and I will always email Kathy's Cooking Club if I have something that's extra. And I'll make sure that you know that. But there's some really cool casseroles in there. If you are interested, it's, let me go look. It's $20, and I think we make an enchilada casserole, soy curl, mushroom and rice casserole, potato broccoli bake, shepherd's pie, and a cassoulet, which is just a really fancy French way of saying bean casserole. Right? So we've got all that going.
I did have some folks asking the Heartbeat group about for the next Zoom call tomorrow.
Yeah, so if you're in Kathy's Cooking Club, then we did a Mary's Mini. So this is the 10th day of the 10-day Mary's Mini. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow we have a Zoom call.
Yeah.
So I sent all the reminders about this today. So tonight I'm going to send the reminder about tomorrow.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't making a liar of myself and telling people, yes, we will send a reminder of the Zoom.
We will send a reminder, and it is under the Mary's Mini. I put the 2 Zoom calls when we did the last one. We did 3 Zoom calls. We did our first 3 Zoom calls ever in Kathy's Cooking Club. So Kathy's Cooking Club has been busier than ever before this month. So that's why I haven't done quite as many videos, but also we didn't take any time off over the holidays, as you know.
Well, we went out of town and we were supposed to take time off, but we did kind of work a little bit.
I'm talking about December.
Oh, sorry.
The holidays.
Sorry.
I'm like, what? We
That's
didn't go
already-
anywhere for the holidays.
That already feels like last year.
It was last year.
I mean, you know what I mean.
Now do you see why we haven't been checking in quite as much? We've been doing a lot of different works, but
Yeah.
because we didn't take any time off, so we were on lives like 3 or 4 hours for Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So we've been trying to kind of recuperate, and we did go on vacation, and I know we went to Orlando. We went to Ocala and saw Cheryl's parents for a couple of days, and then we went to Orlando for a few days. I think 3 days we were there.
Yeah, we extended a day so that we could get a little extra R&R in.
We really needed to extend like another 2 weeks. So we're still kind of recuperating.
Yeah, and you know, she doesn't actually stop working like she says she's going to. Like when we're out of town,
I lessen the
she
amount
lessens.
of work that I do.
You do lessen the amount, but to those who think that Kathy got some great mental break, no. Because
that
her
can't
mind is
happen.
always going.
Well, there's always, like, when I get to rest, then I get to think about the projects I want to do and the recipes I want to do. But also, it's just me and Cheryl. So everything can't completely stop. So if you're ever getting questions answered, there are some times that I will take a couple of days off. So if you ever notice your question didn't get answered, that's usually the case. Every once in a while, if you emailed it to me, I could have gone to email nuclear war, or sometimes I'll just get like 1,000 emails and I'm like, okay. And I never quite catch up. There's stuff right now that's in a holding pattern to be answered, and I still don't know when that's going to happen. So if you've emailed me before, I haven't answered you, email me again. The best place right now to get an answer is in the Heartbeat group. And there's 2 parts of it. So if you're in Kathy's Cooking Club, I've been harassing you to get into Heartbeat. And this month, finally, my dream has come true, and everybody's talking and doing all these great things over there. So I'm really excited. There is a free component to Heartbeat as well. You do not have to be a member of Kathy's Cooking Club. It does not cost you anything. And you can come over and ask questions. Why do I want you to be in another group? It's because Facebook, so like I put this live out, and out of almost 10,000 people, Facebook showed it to 80 people. So then I went back, and I try not to do this, and I'm trying to decide. If you do everybody, it literally alerts everybody in the group. So I'm trying to kind of get that going to see if we can get some more reactions or get some more traction. In the Facebook group. I've noticed that for me, Facebook is really kind of going a little downhill. So when I log into Facebook just to do my scrolling and look at my cool things that I want to see, most of them aren't there anymore.
I typically see just like the same 3 or 4 people's stuff all the time, and I don't really see anybody else's. Right.
And I'm going to just look down in here, and we've got more people here. Yeah, so that's why I'm wanting you to move. Right now, I decided last year I was still going to do some talks, do some communication in the Facebook group, and I've been doing some auto posts so you guys can talk about some meals and things like that. If you have some questions you think would be helpful for me to post, like every Wednesday we talk about this, every Thursday we talk about that, I can do that. But I'm finding it much harder to get to people on Facebook. So if you come over to Heartbeat, you will get email notifications when we're going live, because I put them up as events most of the time. I have to manually do that. And there is a post in Heartbeat about how to disable those if you don't want to get them. So in the beginning, it defaults that way. You go into your settings. So if you're already in that boat, you can email support@healthyslowcooking.com, and Cheryl can help you and send you to that. It's really, really simple. And we've got it all written out for you. Easy to do. Justine wants to know if you are feeling any better.
Well, I do feel better, but it's lingering. I still have a little bit of a cough. I still have some congestion. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm still a little tired, but I've got so much going on that I don't have time to be tired. So I'm just pushing through.
We took our vacation and then we came back, and like I actually worked the whole 9 hours drive back, and I have like worked. I think I took part of Wednesday last week off, but we've been really just trying to get back in the groove. She got really sick, so that it wasn't COVID though. She took the tests. There was no need to go to anywhere. It's just there's lots of respiratory viruses going on. I definitely got a lesser version of what she's had.
Yeah, I feel like if I could just sleep for extended periods of time that I might feel a little bit better, but I've also been having a really hard time sleeping because my mind is going. I don't know if we talked about the fact that I'm actually taking some courses with the what do they call that network? I forget. It's the Food Revolution Network.
Food Revolution Network. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, they have a plant-based coaching certificate program that I decided to step up and take. It's something that I had been thinking about for a while. I kind of, because I want to pay it forward, everybody that's helped me along the way to kind of get where I am. And I know I'm still on the route, but then maybe I can take some folks along with me. And those classes started Monday. And then we've had some practice classes, one practice class, and then we have another one tomorrow. So it's too early in for me to give you lots of detail or my opinion.
Literally, it started yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's a 6-month and what Justine was saying, you still sound sick. She does sound sick. She is still a little spacey and tired, and we're trying to just have lots of water, soup, yummy starch solution food. Yeah. I made congee for her and different things as well. So, but it's going. You're from my point of view.
I see much better.
She's doing so much better. Because it was really bad. So you definitely had an upper respiratory infection.
I had to take one day off of work because I couldn't even move without like my head exploding, and it just had so much gunk. And that day I slept, I think, majority of that day. I think I didn't get up until dinner time.
Yeah, you slept all afternoon. And a lot of times, obviously, in these days and times, if you're really, really sick, you have some sort of upper respiratory, obviously you take a COVID test. And then you take a COVID test the next day. But barring that, because at that point you need to go to urgent care, your doctor, and get the extra medicines that can help that be better. But if you just have a regular flu or virus, I find that rest, water, and soup tend to do the best.
Yeah, this one's just been weird because it got out of my head for a few days, and then I sounded fine. And then the past...
No, you never sounded fine.
No, I thought I sounded fine.
No,
But then...
You sounded better, like you could talk without breaking into a big coughing fit.
Yeah, and I can do that now. I coughed a little bit earlier, but right now I'm good. But I just keep water with me just in case, because that seems to take care of it.
Yeah. And Terry was saying she saw my interview with Heather, and I saw it, but I didn't watch it. It was so long ago, I don't remember it. So Cheryl's came out last week. And so I'll put that up I'll put both of them up in the YouTube community, and I'll try to also post them on Facebook for you, those of you watching from Facebook for sure. And Video 1000 Nights wants to know, do we like our beans a little firm or more clearly soft? I'm from the South. We tend to like creamy beans, which means softer beans. So I just did a class, and you guys can see the video where I make red beans. I make them a couple of different ways, but the quickest way is 2 cans of red beans. You can saute, onions and bell peppers and celery, or use celery seed instead, or use onion powder and celery seed. If you were sick today, take a can or two out of the the pantry, and then you can just do them in a pan. You use some of the aquafaba, and I mash part of them so that they create that creaminess, because red beans traditionally had lard in them. Right? And then if you get some that are vegan, accidentally vegan, blue runner beans, they're full of cottonseed oil, which is one of the worst oils you could have. I know we don't do any oils, but cottonseed is...
It's really bad.
Yeah, they just use a lot more pesticides because cotton isn't normally eaten, right? So I don't know if there are different rules or things like that. But the reason that those are so good is because they are creamy and they have that luscious texture. But you can really replicate that very easily by using some of the aquafaba from the can and mashing them. And next week on Chef AJ's, because on next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, this time I'm going to be doing a Mardi Gras food demo on Chef AJ's Live. I'm going to make Creole white beans using pretty much the exact same technique we just talked about, and I'm going to do some andouille cauliflower,
which is so good, y'all. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really easy too. So you got to show up for that. And then I even made a little downloadable PDF. So if you go, you can click on the link and sign up and get that PDF delivered to your email next week. And next week is like February 4th, 5th, 6th,
is it,
something around
tomorrow's
in there.
The 1st.
Is
so.
it? So, okay, here, let me look at it. The 7th. So we're talking February 7th in case someone's watching the replay. And if you're already on the mailing list, you won't get 2 emails. But it'll just put you into the little delivery funnel for that. Oh, lots of first lives. Francis Bakers. There was someone else up here. Abigail. Yes. So welcome everybody to your first live. Really, we're just all hanging out around my kitchen counter and chatting mostly. If you have some questions, I know there was a question in Facebook. If you have some questions, go ahead and put them in. Yeah, everybody's we can talk a little bit about Mary's Mini. But we'll put that near the end. Carrie says, I prefer the heartbeat for your content. It seems to get lost for me in Facebook. I'm finding that everything that I follow on purpose, almost all of it gets lost on Facebook right now. There was a time that if you were in a Facebook group, that content took priority. And so you got to see it in with your friends' stuff. And that's not been the case for a couple of years.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons, too, why I wanted to move over to the Heartbeat group. And I would love to see the free group get more traction. It does get, and you can always ask questions. And I go and I check them all the time. And then it's also a way for you guys to have a place, a community where you guys can hang out together. Because you do so well in the comments when I'm live, talking to each other, supporting each other, and this is another place that you could do that. Jazz, I'm not really a low-calorie, high-protein blogger recipe developer, and I don't do bread in general. So I'm more of a low-fat, high-carb stuff because we do the starch solution. And that kind of fits in. I do usually have some extra stuff. I know that the Plant-Based Dads, Joey, is doing a low-calorie, high-protein way of eating now. You know, in addition to how he was doing the starch solution. So I watched his video that he did this week about that. I'm not saying I wouldn't ever have any of those recipes, but right now I just don't. What I would say to you, if you're looking for, and see, this solves neither of your problems. So low calorie, what I would do is put some tofu in a waffle maker to get the high protein, but that's not going to get the low calorie. But it depends on what you serve it with and what your portion size is. And then the other thing is we've been doing a lot of shredded potatoes in the panini press. That also works great in the waffle maker. But yeah, I'm sorry, Jazz. I wish I could help you more. Hello, Facebook user. And I've got to see which platform you... Oh, it's Sandra! Sandra Gutierrez!
Hey, Sandra.
If you guys don't know, you've heard me talk about Sandra Gutierrez before. She is amazing. And it's also Anne was on here as well. So welcome, Anne from Facebook. I'm sorry, just as you guys can see when I put it up, it doesn't tell me who you are. Sandra is a Latin American food expert who makes delicious vegan food when I come to her house. She is not a vegan recipe developer, but she's a very inclusive human being who I appreciate greatly. She even has some information in the Smithsonian. Like, y'all, I know some fancy people. Look at me. Sandra's great, though. Yeah. If you ever get a chance to do that, she tried my hot sauce, and she gave me a little tamale tip that made my pumpkin oil-free tamales a little bit fluffier for everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's good to see you here, and I love, she has a new book out, and I love seeing all the amazing press that she's getting for that. Mm-hmm. And Jill says, it's awesome, good for you to continue your education. I'm very excited because this program... and so what we're talking about is the plant-based coaching program. I've got to look at the real name, but it's through Ocean Robbins, the Food Network, not the Food Revolution
Network.
I'm sorry, we really have been sick the past week. But there's like 3 pillars. So one is nutrition, one is the actual learning how to coach, and then they also talk about like impact, which is how to reach people and do things. So I'm just super excited about it. And I think it's going to be really great. Yeah, Vicky says it's exciting. Justine says, way to go.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I was nervous at first. Monday, I was like losing my mind on Monday over it, because I guess I was just like expecting my brain to get fried by all the information that I was getting. But it actually, they're putting it out in nice bite-sized chunks. So that's going to make it a little bit easier.
Cheryl
keeping
also,
all my stuff for my tests, and so I can look
Cheryl
back.
underestimates herself, and I think also she overestimates the amount of information that she doesn't already know in this. This is my 2 cents. So Cheryl finished her bachelor's degree as an adult. And by that, I know there may be somebody in their 20s going, I'm an adult and I'm in college, yes, but as a grown working person. And so since that's been so recent, I knew she wouldn't have any issues getting and maintaining this information. Plus, some of it's stuff you've been learning all along the way anyhow. You're just getting it reinforced.
It is, and one of the instructors is our very good friend Howie Jacobson, and so that makes me feel a little more comfortable too, because I know Howie, he knows me, and it's just there's just a comfort there. Knowing that I can go to him and be like,
Well, and I think you're going to find just a lot more comfort. Like they did their first kind of practice coaching with someone, and it went really, really well.
Yeah, oh yeah. And everybody I've met there so far is super, super nice. I recognize on the Zoom calls some of the names that I think that I've seen in other places. I know there's a lot of people from the Fabulously Fit Over 40s.
Fabulous Over 40s.
Okay. Yeah, that group. There's a bunch of people in there from that, I believe.
Or you mean Chef AJ's group in general?
No,
from the Fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Because I think some people are taking it just to improve their own personal knowledge, and some people are taking it to maybe add it into their career. Sorry. And Ryan was saying, I'm confused. I thought you said it was with horses. I don't remember talking about anything with horses. So, Ryan, I'm going to keep looking. I'm not trying to avoid your question. I'm just not sure what it was.
Oh, he probably thought you said horses instead of courses. Or maybe. Or me because I'm stuffed up. Might have
Okay,
sounded
no,
like horses.
Of course. Okay.
Kind
I
of
get
wish
it.
it was horses.
See, sorry, we're a little on the low energy side, but we are definitely getting better.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. Kitty Mommy says, speaking of courses, it dawned on me recently, and I checked. A lot of colleges, universities will allow seniors 60 plus to audit classes for free.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm close.
I remember
I've
when
got,
I was in school, we had several seniors that would just sit in class with us and learn stuff. One would bring us coffee all the time, so we really liked him a lot.
Yeah. Francis Baker, you are watching us live. So I'm not sure where, you're on YouTube and you made this. So it says, how does this work? Well, it's me, Francis. You can tell I'm live right now. So I'm not sure if you're having some issues, put them in there and we'll see if we can help you. Mm-hmm. Nona Rocks is here from Cold Rome, Italy. That's awesome. Oh, and Susan said someone gave a talk in Oklahoma about the 6 pillars of health and whole food plant-based. That's really amazing.
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
That doesn't happen a lot in the medical field at all. Davika says, good to see you. Heart Day coming soon. Diana says, I've been eating greens at breakfast. My family thinks my food stinks. I ate kale, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. Well, maybe your family stinks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they don't stink. But, one thing I never understand, and this has happened to me even in other ways, because I also love to try lots of different cuisines when they're available to me. When I was in New Orleans, what did I have? I had Thai food or something, and people just had the biggest fit about it.
At the office?
Yeah.
Oh, people at offices have fit. Now, the only thing I ever used to have a fit about was when people bought seafood and put it in the microwave.
Well, yeah, there's
I
certain
always
things.
had
And
a fit
burnt
about
popcorn, you do
Yeah.
just have to fess up that you burnt the popcorn and do what you can. But I think I've never understood why people like to talk about other people's food.
Yeah. What's your fascination? Are you that sad about yours?
And well, it's just too, it's like always, like I was always the kid that if you said my spaghetti was worms, then dinner was done for me or lunch was done for me. So I've always been real sensitive to that, but people will be like, I remember eating some yogurt at a different job, which does not smell, and someone had to say something nasty about it. And so I'm not sure what that's about. I don't see how it's not really good-natured.
I've just always grown up, like when I can remember being little and in the lunchroom, and you know how y'all sat at the long table and everybody brought their lunch stuff. And I can remember always being fascinated by what some of the kids brought to lunch, because I always had some kind of like peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something. This is back before peanut allergy was a thing in schools. And I always had like peanut butter and jelly and some chips. And then I would go buy milk, right, from the thing. But I had kids in my class that were like, I had a kid from the Philippines, and then and so there were always other different foods around, and I was very curious about them. I was afraid to taste them, but I was very curious about what other people
I was in total
ate.
boring white bread thing. Like I remember when we went to a Mexican restaurant in junior high. And I think later on that year we went to a Chinese restaurant. Both were my first times, and it was super exciting. So that's why I'm so obsessed with learning about all the different food, because I was like, this is so much better than what I've been having.
And I guess, my grandfather was in the Army. Both my grandfathers were in the Army, but my mom's dad, when we lived in Toledo, we would go out every Sunday to dinner with them, and he liked to go to like this particular Chinese restaurant. I mean, we didn't just like eat one thing or go to a steakhouse or something like that. We always ate someplace different. I think he had a pretty good palate from all the different places he had been stationed at and things. So he kind of instilled some of that in me. But I also get some of my past weird food things from him though too. My tomato juice thing is from him.
So anyhow, for right now, and remember we talked about this I think earlier this year. I think if someone started talking about my food smelling, I would just be like, "Are you okay?" That's my thing for the year. When someone says something nasty, someone says something funny that's actually kind of insulting, "Are you okay? Can I help you with something?" So maybe Cranky Kathy is in for 2024. Cranky Kathy has been in for January a little bit, but I think overtired and then feeling a little bit sick hasn't helped with that for sure. Terry wants to know, do you think you can use the top of leeks to make broth? Absolutely. And by tops, you mean the green parts? I would cut them up and then I would wash them really good and rinse them several times. But I think that would work as well. And if you're making broth, you're going to be straining it out. So even if some of the top parts are too fibrous to eat, that should still impart some flavor for sure. Hey, Lydia. And, oh, right, okay. Francis, oh good, somebody's gotten Francis taken care of. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. She may just need to refresh as well. Okay, Vicky has a question. I made the sliceable vegan cheese with lactic acid, carrageenan, but I don't have tapioca starch. So I used arrowroot and cooked it the whole time and it started sticking. I've not made it with the arrowroot, so it's kind of hard for me to troubleshoot. Theoretically, I would think it would work, but arrowroot starch, one of the reasons tapioca starch is often used is the way it stretches, not in this case. But yeah, I just don't know because I've not made it with arrowroot. So what you'll find, if there's stuff that I know is easily substitutable and that I've tried it, I'll tell you. If you haven't and you're trying something that's in your pantry, I encourage you to do it, but it is kind of with this heart of this is an experiment. So, and that's what I do when I'm trying something new too. And as far as it starting sticking, I'll look and see if there's any more details about that. Do you mean sticking to the whisk, sticking to the pan? The heat could have been up too high. It could have already, sticking could mean a few different things as well.
Yeah, I wonder if with that you need to do it at a lower temperature.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
The thing is we don't know. So if you're still around, I'll keep looking. Okay, people help Francis. Thank you so much.
That would be fun.
Toya wants a live on tofu and the waffle maker ideas. So ideas. So you really just take a piece of tofu and you put it in the waffle. Do you mean like the marinades you might do before you do that? So be a little more clear and I'll see what I can do. Lydia says Ocean and John Robbins are amazing. Hello, Shirley.
Hey.
Fabulous Over 40 is a group that does the Sophist way of eating. I'm teaching there every other month this year. So I just did a class and I did the andouille cauliflower in there and I did red beans and rice and I did a roux-less gumbo. But I will try and come back in here and put something about it. I'll see if I have a direct link to sign up for it. But Chef AJ started it. She's not doing it anymore, but Zena is doing a lot with it, and Tobias, who does a lot of the better health stuff, is involved as well. Oh, good. Yay, Francis is in. Excellent. It's good to see you, Debbie. Yeah, don't yuck my yum. I like that. And Toya, tell me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, and I will try to do better. Okay. You think I can lower my mic? Okay. So you're saying it's showing up here that it's really loud. So, but I'll put it over here and did it fall down? No, that's something else I'm seeing. Okay, so we'll try this so you can tell me if that's better. You are welcome, Miss Terry, on the leaks. Jeremy's here. Jeremy's a local friend who hangs out with us. Oh, also, Speaking of Jeremy, which reminds me of the Chapel Hill Plant-Based Pod and Elizabeth, they are having an outing to Chapel Hill to Sitar is having their vegan Indian buffet. It is not oil-free, but everything is vegan. So depending on if that fits for you or not, that's why we do 90 to 95% starch solution. So we can go there.
And that's tomorrow night, actually.
Thank you.
Tomorrow night at any
It
time
starts
after
at 5, and you can call them. So if you're a local or if you're within an hour's driving range, I would go. We are probably going unless we don't feel good. If we're not feeling a little bit better, we'll probably skip it this time. If we are feeling, hopefully we'll feel like, woohoo, and then we'll go over. That's the plan. Probably around 6 is when we're going to go over.
I'm gonna try to go to bed early tonight and see if I can actually get to sleep before 3 a.m.
Well, yeah, and I'm working frantically on a book that's due this weekend because it's going to be for a bundle that happens in March, which you might be familiar with, but it's going to be on Starch Solutions compliant recipes. We're going to Cheryl and I are going to put our story in there. Stacy has a little intro, and Heather McDougall is probably going to write a little something for it too, so I'm super excited. But that is why I will not be napping after this afternoon, because that's a lot of stuff to do in a short amount of time. And Vicky's saying it's sticking to the pan on 5 electric smooth top. On 5, I would turn the heat down for sure. Mm-hmm. And also, the thing is when you're making that cheese, and maybe there's a video for anybody who wants to watch. I think there's a couple of videos, but the pepper jack, if you look that up on my channel, with the tapioca starch, it starts kind of coating, almost a thick coat, and you can peel it off. That's how I know it's going to set up. But I would try that. It shouldn't stick to the pan. But it might stick to the pan a little bit. You have to whisk it the entire time or it will burn on the bottom. So the whole time you're cooking this oil-free sliceable cheese, you have to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna put a pin in some of these comments since I said we were gonna talk about January and the starch solution. And then if we still have some time, we'll go through some of the questions. So Cheryl, do you want to kind of give an update on the starch solution for you for January? Like, has there been any changes? Do you want to talk about Mary's Mini? Do you want to, or do you not want to talk about it? Okay.
I'm all in. So I was dead set that I was going to do rice for my Mary's Mini. And I was just all team rice. And then when I got sick, and I was in much worse shape than Kathy's default was potatoes. So I did potatoes for the first half of the week, or the first half of the 10 days.
I'm going to come in here for just a second. I'm looking at some. Colleen said I missed the location of the vegan get-together. And Colleen, you can email me. Colleen is my bookkeeper. Who we love, and she's also in Kathy's Cooking Club. It's at Sitar, S-I-T-A-R. It's in Chapel Hill, across from the Target on 15501.
That's actually Durham.
I don't know.
It's on Durham.
The road is literally called Durham Chapel Hill. So whatever part of it, it's across from the Target on 15501. It's so if you need some more information about that, email me and I will get you back.
It's just past where the Mayflower is and where that Japanese kumi or whatever they call it restaurant is.
Yeah,
right
the Japanese restaurant. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I just saw that one.
That's okay.
So we're not as in the weeds as I thought we were really in the weeds on comments, but we weren't.
No. So anyhow, because I was sick. And then I went with potatoes since Kathy was cooking, and we had lots of yummy things. Like for several meals, I had mashed potatoes with my vegetable mix and some of her golden gravy on top, and that all mixed together, and that was so yummy. And then several meals, I just had these little, do you call them new potatoes?
they're new potatoes, baby potatoes. This is the golden gravy mix, and this recipe is on healthyslowcooking.com. And literally, you put some oats and some stuff in a blender, blend it up, and you can make a bigger jar than this. And you just take about a quarter cup, toast it for a minute, and then you can put water or broth or non-dairy milk, depending if you want a creamy gravy or not.
And so I also would take the little potatoes and just kind of cut them into fours and kind of splay them out on my plate, and then I put some mustard on them, and then had some green beans with those. And so that was kind of like and then you made me a soup.
I made me a soup, really, and she just got to enjoy some, because I was like, I want some soup. I wasn't feeling good either. So I just looked around to see what I had, and I had potatoes and corn and mushrooms, and
Was there carrots in there?
there were carrots. There might have been something else I found in there, and some different spices, and I used this Georgian, not Georgia as in Atlanta, but Georgia as in a country near
Like
Russia. My friend Katya Gorbachova gave me, and it's delightful as like fenugreek and coriander. It's like this beautiful blend that I want to use.
It was like the
again.
perfect Eastern European soup.
Oh, that's right. I put some caraway. We were talking either here on a live, or we were talking in the Zoom call, but we got off on caraway seeds. And so I had caraway seeds and dill and some other stuff. So it was really, really, it was very satisfying.
It was a really good soup. I had that soup like 2 or 3 times. So then after that, first half of potatoes, and then one day I just couldn't take it anymore, and Kathy made me some rice. So I had rice and vegetables. I had rice and green beans that day twice.
Well, with the potatoes too, some of the things I've done is I like to bake a bunch of potatoes in there, and then so like we have 3 that are in there. So if you bake the potatoes, then put them in the fridge. I don't know the whole thing about them becoming more starch resistant or whatever, but you guys have talked about that a lot. You can look that up. But I do know it makes really good fries because you cut them and it crisps up really good. What it doesn't do, like, don't try and make a double baked potato or twice baked potato with it, because it's kind of gummy after that. Like if you're going to make a twice baked potato, when you take them out from baking the first time, just go ahead and make them and put them away. I tried that once. It was a really bad experiment. It was just gummy.
So she did make little fingerling potato fry looking things that we had for an appetizer before dinner.
They were just baked potatoes cut into thin wedges. So they were thin, long wedges, and we just we used some barbecue sauce that I made.
I had
and
mustard.
Used mustard.
And so then she taught a class. She actually taught the Fabulous Over 40s class on Sunday night, and so she had lots of gumbo and red beans left, which are both things that you put on rice. So we switched over and ate rice so that we could eat those leftovers, because we weren't going to have any room in the refrigerator if we didn't. So and then after a couple days of her eating leftover gumbo and red beans, she was like, I've had enough.
It's
and
the
yesterday,
rice. Well, and the thing is, it was delightful. So I just taught that class on Sunday, and it's Wednesday. So the other thing, I had made you a big thing of congee, and congee is just basically rice porridge. So you take rice, extra water or broth. Usually I use mushrooms, ginger, garlic, and you make kind of a base. You can leave the mushrooms out, or if it's just the texture you don't like, put a little mushroom powder in, or beefy bouillon, chickeny bouillon, bouillon cubes, whatever you want.
but you found out during this Mary's Mini that rice doesn't fill you up like potatoes do.
No, it's not that at all.
But that's
I said I was tired of rice.
Well, you said you were tired of rice, but you also said that the rice made you hungrier more or something like.
No,
Okay.
we've not been communicating well
Yeah.
during sick time. So I say
So
things
you were
and she
literally
makes up stuff.
So you were literally just tired of it.
I was tired of it. I was tired of the same texture in my mouth.
Okay.
Whereas I find, And it's kind of weird because usually we've not done a Mary's Mini before. And we also decided, and we voted this in Kathy's Cooking Club. From now on, what we do in Kathy's Cooking Club is going to be called a Starch Reset. So that we're not tied to the same Mary's Mini rules, but it allows for an experimentation. So we're not doing Mary's Mini like to punish ourselves for going on vacation. Basically, it's a way of just like, let's be curious. What happens if we eat the same starch for 10 days? Obviously, we switched. So that happened. But part of it is I was going to cook for her and cook for me separately, and I also didn't feel well.
Yeah, so that just couldn't happen.
It was just a little hard.
But yesterday,
but there was no loss about that, though. We still ate starch for all our meals.
And yesterday, you cooked up some sweet potatoes, and you cooked up some more of those little potatoes.
Yeah, I cooked up a bunch of stuff, and I actually went to H Mart. Someone was talking about the different sweet potatoes, and I desperately miss my sweet potato every day. And so this morning, I just went off the rails, even though it's day 10, and I made rolled oats with sweet potatoes, and I was in heaven.
I didn't complain either.
So, and here's the thing, for those of you going, I don't even know what Mary's Mini is. Mary's Mini is just a subset of the starch solution. The starch solution is the most general diet from Dr. McDougall, our eating plan. So basically, starch is more than 50% of your plate, vegetables and sauces. No oil, it's all vegan, no coconut. That is the general idea. Then if you're trying to release weight, you may decide to not do flour as much. You might not do nuts or seeds or avocados for a while you're trying to release that weight. Sofas, which is Chef AJ's way of eating, includes all that naturally. So I know it can get very confusing from all the different doctors and all the different ways, but the starch solution is really simple. There are very few things. Obviously, you can't have meat, fish, poultry, dairy, eggs, coconut. But that's it.
Yeah.
And oil. So to me, it's really easy. The maximum weight loss then eliminates certain things. Like I don't know for a fact, but I think you either have to limit or eliminate fruit on there. With Mary's Mini, you could have a couple of pieces of fruit. There's some older information about Mary's Mini and newer information about Mary's Mini, and that's why we're not going to do that anymore. So different people interpret it different ways, but we did it in class, just to all do something kind of cool together and reset.
Support each other, see how we feel and all that.
And to be curious. And so that's one of the things is I feel like I was very curious about, I can eat potatoes forever. Literally, you can have mashed potatoes and gravy every night. Thank you very much. That's very easy for me. And rice is usually easy. I think it's just me right now. It's just, it wasn't that I was hungry.
Well, you had mentioned something about not being satisfied or something that I took it as you were still hungry.
Nope, I was not. You're more likely to feel hungry after eating something than I am in general. But it just, I just wish there was a little more. Also, we were being pretty lazy. So probably if I had made more elaborate vegetable side dishes, I could have been satisfied as well. But I was keeping it pretty basic.
And I love basic. So for me, just having some rice with some green beans, I'm completely happy. I did meet with Stacy, our support specialist. We had our monthly check-in with her this last week before last week. And I had thought, that through the holidays that I had just kind of maintained everything, and turns out I actually lost 4 pounds.
Yeah, she told me, she's like, I'm not losing any weight. I've gained weight. And this is, again, this is with everybody, right? If you're in a couple, best friends, partners, whatever, if you aren't feeling well, a lot of times the communication is off. So we were both on the call. I'm like, you told me you didn't lose any weight. And it's like, nope. And
I didn't think that I had. I honestly didn't think that I had. I just thought I had that shifting that everybody goes through where you kind of stay the same weight, but then everything kind of shifts somewhere else. I thought I kind of had that going on.
Well, and I do notice that happening. My weight loss has slowed through the holidays, and January's been okay. But and what I told Stacy is I'm okay as long as it's going in the right direction. I don't have to lose 1 or 2 pounds a week to be happy. If I made it through this really stressful time and I've lost a couple pounds, great. Because also, since we're not, it's not like on July 16th, when we've hit a year, we're never doing this again. This is just how our life is now. And Mary's Mini was meant to make us curious, like what happens when you eat the same starch, and to get that information, that data. Howard Jacobson likes to call it, turn bad experiences into good data. And not that Mary's Mini is a bad experience, but it's one way that you can set up this controlled thing. And actually someone else was talking in the Heartbeat group today that they got sick this week. And it worked great because they had prepped for the Mary's Mini, so they just magically had food to eat. So a lot of times I'll find myself eating more simply if I'm super, super busy, if I don't feel good, to just go ahead. We've talked the whole time about trying to have rice ready in the fridge, trying to have baked potatoes and the little baby Instant Pot potatoes that I can either, if I'm really hungry, I can pop one in my mouth straight from the fridge, or I can cut it up and air fry it and make home fries. Like the more you have just these very simple things and a few sauces and some frozen veggies, the easier it is to eat this way, no matter Mary's Mini or not.
Thank you for picking up frozen veggies for me yesterday.
You're welcome. I went to Costco all by myself, y'all.
That's a big deal, y'all.
It wasn't quite so crazy, and I think only 4 people almost hit me. But what is this? People go 3 carts in a row. There's no arrows. This is not a race course. There's not a one way.
Yeah.
But then I know why it's like it is
in the
parking lot.
From that aisle where the clothes are, if you've got to cross to go over to the aisles where the food are, good luck getting through there without getting smashed, because people are just barreling for the checkout, right?
Right. And Dawn says rice doesn't fill her up like potatoes do. And see, kanji makes me feel very satisfied, but I usually feel like there's a few textures going on. And I think the thing is from the gumbo, it was more than half rice and a little bit of gumbo. And usually I'm more a quarter rice and the rest gumbo. And so I was also trying to up the starch level, and with the red beans and rice. And it was just the textures were a little monotonous. The tastes were great, and I put a lot of hot sauce on everything. And obviously, Mardi Gras is coming up next month, and I'm feeling it. Some years I miss it, and some years I don't. But I lived in New Orleans for 12 years. But it's always good as you're doing these things just to check in with yourself, because you know what? Maybe last week this week rice just didn't hit the spot. But when I think back to that mashed potatoes with steamed veggies and the golden gravy, which is just ridiculously easy, that I felt like that was one of the best meals
I would like to have that today, if we could have that again.
How you feel about peelings and taters? Okay.
If you're okay with me peeling them.
We'll see. If she's sick, I won't let her touch things in the kitchen.
I'm barely allowed to even come in here and get water.
Don't touch the things. I know. It's me. Let's see. Yeah, Davinka is saying people can be so unkind, judgmental, and opinionated. They want everyone to be just like them. And I think that's true. And even, I find that even us talking about the starch solution, everybody wants to look at the minutia of things instead of kind of coasting through on a happy life. And maybe I'm wrong in wanting that. But for me, I can get really bogged up in little things. And I think once we start making our pinch, if I said, I don't like rice, or no one should eat rice. Rice isn't filling, which is all lies. If you're watching this, I do not believe any of those statements. But saying that might mean me in that 1 hour, and then it could be, who knows, in February, I might be like, I'm only going to make recipes with rice in it. It just kind of, it's a mood, and everybody doesn't have to do exactly the same thing. You know, there's lots of whole food, plant-based doctors and ways of eating. You can do, what is it? Dr. Greger's Dirty Dozen. You can do Dr. Furman's G-Bombs. You can do the Starch solution. And no one's ever trying to tell you that, but it's really easy to kind of pick your place and fight against the rest. But I truly think, you know, bodies are different and people are different and different things work for different people. So therefore, it's our jobs as individuals to pick one plan. Like, we find it easier to pick one plan to start out with and use that as an experiment as you go along and see if you need to narrow it or widen it. Like, for instance, there was someone on Mary's Mini who is losing too much weight. She is not in this game to lose weight. She's in this game for health. So a lot of people will go on the Starch solution to lose weight. So we had to talk about some foods she could add in so she would not lose weight, because that was an issue for her. And so it's also very easy, and I know it happens to me sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, I'm here because I'm trying to release some weight. So therefore, no, everybody's different, right? I have a liver issue. Somebody else has a heart issue. Somebody else has something else. So there may be things tweaked. You know, if you have kidney disease, things are a lot different.
Right.
So I think that's important to know too. And was it Susan said 2 weeks ago, my husband says, I would have made some soup, but no meat. And I replied, why not just make vegetable soup? Last night he made some vegetable soup, proud of the lima beans he added.
Nice.
Yes.
I love lima beans. Those are some of my favorite.
Because, and the thing is people really can grow. You know, little things that people try differently, which is great. One anti-venom says, I've resorted to eating my lunch in my room at the spa so I don't have to smell everyone's lunch. I miss the social time but can't handle the smells anymore. And I do understand that too. And so let's be clear, when I was saying, it's not that, from what I got from the earlier response was not, you know, if you're just making your food and someone goes, it smells, is very different than saying, oh, I'm really sensitive to smells, so I'm going to go off and eat in a different room. And I've been incredibly noise sensitive. Like, it's been not nice at all.
It has not been nice.
Well, you've been pretty noise sensitive too.
I have been noise sensitive, but I'm okay with you breathing.
No, that's not what I've said to you about. But like, literally, she'll bang 17 things and I'll be like, what are you doing? I got some water. And so all the noises aren't adding up. So I'm wearing more earbuds, and we're trying to, it's a split level, so we're trying to work a little more not in the same room. And this happened in 2020 as well, when we were working too much. Because like before, you were going downstairs and working some, and you haven't done that in a really long time.
I'm going to start doing that again real soon.
Or we can swap, you know, the places for sure.
We swapped this morning. That worked out pretty good.
It was delightful. It really was delightful. Serenity Bloom says, people keep asking Mary if there was a more streamlined to the Starch solution because they felt they were not suffering enough on the Starch solution. So Mary came up with this as kind of a joke.
If that's true, that is hilarious.
What I've heard from Stacy Cross, is that it was offered to us when we went into the 12-day program. So when I got all the materials, there was all the materials for the regular Starch solution, all the materials for maximum weight loss, all the materials for Mary's Mini. And when I met with Stacy and I was like, should I just go on the maximum weight loss or Mary's Mini, since I've been doing vegan, mostly whole food plant-based? And she's like, no. Let's start with the Starch solution, and then we can always cull down from there. And I don't know about Tiffany, since she's not my health specialist, but I know Stacy well enough that Stacy prefers people to start on the starch solution for sure. And I think also people get into, like when Serenity Blooms was saying not suffering enough, I think people like to get into this minutia, especially if you have a problem or you're trying to make a big shift. Your mind wants to go, well, how can I postpone this? And if I'm trying to decide if turnips and rutabagas are a starch that are allowed on Mary's Mini, that gives me a little bit of space to not just jump in and do it. My opinion, my words. Oh, hey, Robin, it's awesome. Yeah, December can be tough for weight gain. We did not gain in December. I don't know how, but we did not gain in December. But yeah, we weren't particularly careful. December was harder for us as far as going out and doing things
social
and
month.
Events versus November, which is not how it's usually November is the big tough month. But I think also we went to the Triangle of Vegetarian Thanksgiving, which we hadn't been to since 2019. Delightful. And I suspect this November will be better if we go to it again, because here's the thing. We have a big giant buffet. We're not really overeating. Some of the things do have oil, so you make your choices, but also we're not having all that holiday food. Leftovers that we're eating for a whole week.
We're eating it, and then it's done. Like, we're not bringing anything home. We're not, it's not piled in the refrigerator for us to eat over the next week and continue on. I think it's a really good idea. Yeah,
because I think that really helped things. Some of the things we did in December we were really happy about. Some of them we were like, well, that was a wasted 5%. It just didn't really hit the spot. So for those of you who are like, what is this 5% she's talking about? So Cheryl and I, only Cheryl and I, perhaps you too, I don't know, we don't do the starch solution 100%. The reason we don't do the starch solution 100% is so that we can go to the Indian buffet and it not be a cheat. It's not something we're doing bad. It's not a judge thing. So we do the starch solution 90 to 95%, which gives us the option to go out to eat once a week if we want to. We're not going out and getting Impossible Burgers and French fries. We are always in that 5 to 10%. It is always vegan.
And we
usually
try to keep
whole food plant-based.
And we try to keep it on the healthier side.
Yeah, as much as possible. And that doesn't mean never will we have a vegan hot dog or something like that. But that is not our goal. Our goal is so that we can have that opening. Because since we've done the starch solution, we've been doing more things with the plant-based pod. And they go and they have a big table in the back. And it's been really nice. It's been a really good social thing. And even when we took the 12-day program, one of the things that people were really worried about is they can never go to anybody's house again. They can never go to family functions. And obviously, there are ways of working around that. Even if you are 100%, you can always work around that. So let me be clear. But I think what happens is then people go to something like that. They've brought their dish, but now they're having a bite of the pumpkin pie. And now they've broken a promise to themselves.
And they feel like failures, but
versus kind of, so that's why we have that buffer. Because if we were going to do this for 6 months, for a year, I could see doing 100%. Or trying to do 100%, but you can't do 100% forever. And one of the things we learned, in 2019, we had lost some weight before the pandemic. And Howard Jacobson was our coach at that point. And he was really, the thing I liked best about working with Howard was one of the things he tried to prepare yourself for was you have this goal. Let's set up these goals. Okay, what are you going to do when you fail? What are you going to do when you do eat a piece of chocolate? What are you going to do? What does it mean? Does it mean you give everything up, or do you have a contingency plan? And we haven't really talked about this as much, but that mindset really has played into us labeling us 90 to 95% starch solutioners.
Yeah, because both of us kind of had a mentality previously in life, that if we focus on something, we give it our all, and then if we mess up one time, then we're just like, oh, well, we failed. And so to get out of that failure mentality, you know, and Howard did have a lot to do with breaking us of that in 2019. It really helps for us to be able to communicate with each other and to say, hey, the vegan buffet is this week. What do you think? And then if one of us is like, well, I don't know if I would rather do this week. You know, then we negotiate. Do we do this or do we do the vegan buffet?
Or perhaps, and this could happen one day, she really wants X and I really want Y, then we go with friends. Or we go at lunch. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, so like one of the things that's been working for us too is it's not like if you're working and you decide that's the thing you're ordering out, I'm not like, oh, well, we didn't do that together. You know, we have to be able to have some autonomy, and sometimes you need to eat more than I do, and sometimes I'm craving something. So we have to kind of work with some of those things as well. You know, like maybe today is my day of hunger, and I end up eating more or needing more food. Because one of the things about the starch solution is you're not supposed to be hungry. Not that you can't get hungry, but when you are hungry, you go and eat a starch, which is why I have potatoes in there. So like after we made breakfast, but we didn't really make lunch. So probably when we get off of here, I'm going to see what's in there. I know I have 2 gumbos, and I put them, actually I can show you. I'm wearing exciting sweatpants and my slippers.
I got on jammy bottoms, so I'm not getting up.
But like, I love these cups like this. So like when I did that class, I'd made a big thing of rice and I portioned up all the gumbo. So all I have to do is take this, we can put it in the microwave. Don't want to use the microwave, you can heat it on the stove. But I know Cheryl is going to heat it in the microwave. And I got these at like Ross's, TJ Maxx. I'm always going to buy the Halloween ones full price. But like probably now you might find some Christmas ones on sale somewhere. I have some that just are whatever they were that were on sale, but I probably have about 12 of them. And then we can make a salad to have as a side for this. We could steam some vegetables, but I did this with red beans and rice.
And if I all of a sudden have to go into the office for an emergency and I haven't had lunch yet, I just grab one of those out when I go, and then when I get to the office, I can just heat it up.
Yeah, and I do have little potatoes in there. I forgot I made them a couple of days ago. So some of it is just like trying to make things as easy as possible on you. And even if that just means keeping some rice. So I do want to TS was saying is congee kind of like rice pudding. I have some rice pudding recipes around. But
to me, it's kind of more like steel cut oats.
It is a little bit. So, and actually, I've made a steel cut. I think on plantbasedinstantpot.com, I have the rice congee, and on healthyslowcooking.com, I have an oat congee. But if you just look up congee on plantbasedinstantpot.com or healthyslowcooking.com, you can get a recipe. It's like, I think it's like 1 cup of rice to 6 to 7 cups of water or broth cooked down. So it doesn't just melt right into nothing the way rolled oats would just kind of melt into mush. It still has a little bit of texture. It's really interesting.
It's like a savory rolled oats to me, texture-wise.
Yeah. And so one anti-venom, have you worked with a dry roux? Yes. What I do to make, and so when we're talking gumbo is traditionally made with a roux. Roux is oil and flour cooked together, and it's cooked very slowly. So they use white flour, and sometimes it almost looks like chestnut color. So it's cooked very, very slowly. I take rolled oats, turn them into flour, and toast them. Marilyn toasts them on a sheet pan in the oven because she is smarter than I am. I like to stir them and know exactly where they are. I like to be all up in their business. But you can go ahead and do a big sheet pan of that and roast it slowly. I probably would try 300 to 325 because once it's burnt, you have to throw it out and stir it every 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know. I haven't done it in the oven. Some things I did, and we'll talk about this next week. No, we won't because I'm not doing gumbo. So we might as well talk about it now. So I came up with 3 ways. Well, I didn't just come up with it. So I forgot about filet, which is sassafras root, that thickens gumbo. So you can use filet if you want to have a roux-less gumbo. You can also, and these 2 are super controversial and absolutely in no way are they traditional to a Cajun gumbo or a Creole gumbo. You can put your immersion blender in there and blend about 20%. Magically, you have thick. That's what I do to almost all my soups. I'll go in and take the potato masher and mash some potatoes or carrots or beans and make it kind of creamy that way and thick. The other thing is you could do, if you have some mashed potatoes in the fridge, you could put maybe about half a cup to a cup, put it in a small blender or a small food processor and put it in and just try and whisk it in. They are going to be gluey. You want them to be gluey because then they will act like a roux. So hopefully that helps.
You used filet on this last batch that we had, right?
Yeah, it's delicious. It adds this really dark, lovely flavor. And so that's pretty awesome too. And we'll talk about more. That recipe is going to be coming up on the blog. I had this ebook done because it's due this weekend. So it's not going up this week though, for sure. And yes, the golden gravy recipe is on healthyslowcooking.com. Really easy to find it. Let's see if we've got some. Oh, what did I say? Someone said I said something with Alive and Chef AJ. I'm gonna
no, Mary. Mary said.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you for connecting that for me. Serenity said Mary McDougall said that about the Mary's Mini and Alive with Chef AJ. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
I can totally see her saying that.
Exactly. All right, let's see. And I'll come back with some of your basic questions, but stuff we've talked about right now. Kathy's here.
Oh, hey.
She just joined a while ago.
I was just thinking about you last night, and I had it on my to-do list today to actually email you and see how you were doing.
Yes, and we've been missing you for sure. Mm-hmm. Tobias, it is a very, very lovely community, and I am so grateful to be a part of it. He said, if the internet is alive, this must be the heart.
Aw,
that makes me feel all mushy on the inside. I don't think fruit is necessarily limited. So Diana's saying, how much fruit can you have on the starch solution? I don't think it's limited in per se, but I will say again, so there's the starch solution and then there's the little hubs of what things you're trying to do. If you're trying to lose weight, it is not all the fruit you can hold because fruit is more calorie dense than potatoes, which means,
fruit weighs more per pound than wait.
We are a mess, y'all. Oh. So 1 pound of fruit is usually more calories than 1 pound of potatoes. That's how calorie density gets compared.
I was trying to say
like
that.
Like 1 pound of oil versus this.
My brain just could not get it out.
It is okay.
Words today are just like all jumbled up.
We're doing well. What my opinion would be, and it's probably a couple of pieces of fruit a day. You can have 1 or 2 pieces of fruit on Mary's Mini, so there's no reason not to. You were getting in trouble with your grape consumption there for a while. Your grape consumption got a little bit out of control.
And my grape consumption might still be a little out of control.
Well, I helped with that last night. So the way Stacy does it is, let's say you're like, okay, my weight has stalled. and you're trying to lose weight. That's why you're doing the starch solution, or one of the reasons. You'll look at what you're having, like how many pieces of dried fruit are you having? How much soy are you having? Are you having any avocado? Do you have bread? So you're going to look at all your high calorie dense things. And then if those were all perfect, then you're going to go to things that are allowed, but are you eating lots of them? And it's not that those things, bread's allowed. But if you're
but if you're having bread with every meal,
then that might be the problem. And it's different for everyone. That's why, like usually when we're like mentally on track, which I just feel like I'm just glad there's food in there for me to eat right now, because I'm like, who knows what I would eat.
I'm just glad my important meetings are done for the day.
I'm glad yours are. Mine are not. So I'm sad. But, you just kind of have to look. And so it could be one time, like over the holidays, I was making us some grilled cheese sandwiches with the no oil compliant cheese. Mm-hmm. And we didn't go crazy. But another time, I think if we would have had that last week, when we didn't feel good, and it's very easy to make, we possibly would have eaten that twice a day, mm-hmm. because it's there and easy. And at that point, I already know if I eat that much bread, my weight is going to go up.
But then there was that time that you made me that yummy chickpea salad. And because the chickpea salad is so easy to, just get to, and it's easy to make a quick sandwich, I was having sandwiches way too much for 1 week, and it showed, like, bread is not my friend.
Well, and that's the thing. It's all a grand experiment with yourself. And what may affect Cheryl may not affect me, and vice versa even. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to see what works for you. And Justine was saying, can congee be made on the slow cooker setting of the Instant Pot? Yes. As long as you're not trying to put dried beans in there, you can use the slow cooker setting on your Instant Pot. The other, don't do it, is don't bake on the slow cooker setting of your Instant Pot. I will just give you those two rules. Don't put dried beans in the slow cooker setting of your Instant Pot. That means what you should do is use the pressure cooker setting on your Instant Pot. Same for if you're going to use a baking recipe. But honestly, baking in your slow cooker and Instant Pot is great for camping and just for like party tricks. It works really well. The carrot cake I have on plantbasedinstantpot.com is really good. There's no oil. The steam, it's like a steamed pudding, adds some moisture, and that can be helpful. But in general, slow cooker setting on your Instant Pot is for things like dump and go. If I wanted to make a chili with canned beans and vegetables, you can do it that way. It's weird. It has to do with the settings and how it was programmed. Yep, that goes for Dawn. Mm. Oh, Justine says, can you talk about okra a little bit? It is slimy.
But that slime can be used for the power of good.
Right. So you guys have all heard me say, use your neurosis for the power of good. If you're feeling anxious, sometimes that's a great day to clean. If you're feeling a little depressed, sometimes that's a great time to take a walk or to rest. Sometimes, I'm trying to listen to my own personal body more. So okra, if you don't want it to be slimy at all, so you can, and I have whole okra. I'm not even going to go in that fridge again. It's just like a long finger. So what you would do is take a damp cloth and clean them that way. If you rinse them in water and then go to cut them while they're still wet, you're going to get slime coming up. That slime is a thickener. Mm-hmm. It's delightful. That's why it's great in Indian curries. It's great in tomato okra side dish. It's great in gumbo. It's a thickening agent of gumbo. And one of the things I did for the no flour roux also is I cooked the gumbo extra and made sure to stir it while it had some wet stuff in there. I was really trying to get the slime to go. And it's not like oat slime where it's just stringy. Once you add it in together, it just thickens everything up. Yeah. It does have an interesting texture. So if you're a texture eater, you may have issues not even with the slime, because when you cut it open, it kind of has these big seeds, but the seeds I love the texture of the seeds. They're just like pop and they're like perfect.
I love it.
They're not like chewy, hard seeds or anything. It's almost like there's little like
little peas
like
or something.
couscous or something.
Yeah.
Like bigger couscous, like Israeli couscous. And you know, you have a little bit of skin, so there's and it usually melds down and melts a little bit into things. So it's great.
You can pop it in an air fryer and crisp it up a little bit, and that's real good too.
Yeah, you can actually toss. So like, go ahead and rinse it. Let the slime be slime. Toss it with a little bit of cornmeal, or some oat flour, or something like that. Maybe some Cajun spices. Maybe a little bit of nutritional yeast, and put it in your air fryer, and it's delightful. Let's see. I see your Ninja Creamy question, but I want to see if, okay. And that may be the truth because but I don't know, but there's only so much, fruit is not going to be satiating. And again, now's a great time for me to reiterate the fact that I'm a recipe developer and not a doctor, and I didn't create the starch solution. I'm just a participant in it and telling you about my experiences, lest someone thinks something I say is absolute truth about something. So I will say this, the reason the starch solution is called the starch solution is because you're supposed to eat more than 50% starch, and that it's filling it, when the walls of your stomach do the thing, then a hormone happens, blah, 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 not a doctor. Go read, a doctor talked about the doctory things. But so fruit is not going to fill you up for the long term. And you might end up eating more fruit or vegetables. They talk about this with vegetables too. So 50% starch is the minimum. You really should be eating more than that. 50% starch is the maximum weight loss diet. So anyhow, so if you're eating salads and fruit, you may, I don't know what's going to happen. So maybe go to the Dr. McDougall site, look up what he has to say. I don't remember there being a number or limit on fruit.
I don't either.
But again, with any of the foods, so there's actually, Stacy and I talked about someone who is eating all completely whole food, plant-based, no oil, completely compliant. But what she was looking at is that it may have been just the sauces, that they were using a lot of sauce, compliant sauce on things. So there we go. Yeah, and Marlene asked this in the Facebook group too. Says, what do you guys do for a sweet tooth if you need something to cap off dinner? I was eating Laura Bar minis, but Stacy pointed out they would stall your weight because they are dried fruit and nuts. And those are high calorie dense foods, for sure. I'm sure about that one. If fruit doesn't always do the trick, I mean, there are other things. One thing I didn't talk about, Dr. McDougall doesn't really love chocolate or coffee either. Your mileage may vary. Sometimes we will have a couple of little pieces of chocolate. Again, it's in our 90-95% because you're eating chocolate and not cocoa. There is oil in that, cocoa butter.
We'll get those little bars the little teeny bars from Trader Joe's and split that in half.
Yeah, so we have a piece, not a piece. A little piece of chocolate.
And then you'll make some creamy
Ninja
concoctions.
Creamies, we do a lot of that. So sometimes you can just freeze pineapple, make Dole Whip. You can make some muffins and cookies, but then again, you have to be a little bit careful about that. So
I think Chef AJ's got quite a few recipes.
She does. Not all of them. All of them are compliant, but not all of them are low calorie density. And so just pay attention to that and your goals. Because the thing is Chef AJ is not looking to lose weight anymore, too. And that is not me saying you shouldn't make her delightful things. I just don't want you to go, oh, Chef AJ made that so I can eat the whole cake, right? Which can be tempting to do. One of the things I did in the fall is I made it, and I still have some in the freezer, is I made that pumpkin bread, and I made it compliant, and I froze it. So I made it in individual sizes and just put them in the freezer, because then if I have to take it out of the freezer and warm it up, I'm not going to overeat on it. But it's hard to know without knowing what you usually eat, but the Ninja Creamies can be really great. Like, I love ice cream. Sometimes I'm going to be coming out for real this year. I know I said I was last year, but I'm making a plan on all the things that are coming out this year. And I'm going to do a whole new Ninja Creamy ebook with some of the new ways I've been making things with, like milk maker pulp, vegetables, beans, different things like that too. Though the ebook that I have now is completely compliant except for one recipe where I tell you can leave out the vegan blue cheese. I just cannot pass up a fig blue cheese ice cream. It's vegan.
Salad ice cream.
Yeah, nobody likes it but me and a few other weird foodie people. Kitty Mommy says fruit is 300 calories per pound, but potatoes are 400. I think McDougall limits fruits because of it's sweet and tasty, and you can tend to overeat. Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you for explaining that. Indeed. Let's see what. And I'll try and come back. I see a couple of things. Penny just finished a baked potato with green beans and my dry mixed cheese sauce, which is also on healthyslowcooking.com. It looks much like this. And I made a big batch in a class recently too, and you used that. Didn't you finally use the cheese sauce or did I make it for you?
No, you made it for me. But I have almost went through all the tomato soup powder you made me.
Yeah, the tomato soup powder from the mason jar soup class. And so I've got to make her some more of that. So one of the things I like about these dry mixes, the first thing I like about these dry mixes is they're cheap. The second thing I like about them is they're tasty. And the third thing I like is that they're easy. And that is a trifecta I can get behind for all things. So cheap, easy, and delicious. So you can just go ahead once a month, once a quarter, make the golden gravy, make the dry chicken bouillon, make the dry beefy bouillon, things like that. I'm going to try and get the dry tomato soup mix up on the blog. Not this week, but hopefully it'll be soon. Monique says lemon juice cuts the slime in stir fry, talking about okra. Mm-hmm. And what does okra taste like? If Cheryl likes it, then I might too. She likes it, and I find I would think it would be a thing for texture eaters, but you like the texture of it as well.
I like the texture of it. Now, I do have to say that my first introduction to okra was fried okra, like deep fried okra, like
That's
Southern style fried okra.
It's delightful.
It's very delightful.
It's in a batter, and you could make this in the
But
air
it helps
fryer.
you get used to the texture. But I do like okra. Like, I like okra in the gumbo. I like it when it's in soups. I like it in things. I don't like it by itself. So if you put it in something, the texture and it's in something with a lot of different textures, you don't notice the texture so much. And to me, it really doesn't have a lot of flavor on its own, like a green bean.
It doesn't have like a strong flavor. It looks, from the looks of it, the majestic okra, it feels like it should be like some kind of really wild flavor profile, but it's much more a texture than it is anything else. So like, I think in that way I would almost say it's the potato of green vegetables.
Yeah, maybe, because you can make it taste like anything.
Yeah, and I mean, what you notice in a gumbo is just gumbo is all those beautiful things together, but even I've done like an okra tomato soup, and I think I have that on Healthy Slow Cooking too, and it just adds some nice texture into a soup. I'm sorry I'm not describing this better, but it's just not, it's very mild.
Yeah, it's very mild, and I will eat it, and I will eat it in things, and I think if you can try it in something like a gumbo or a soup or something like that, go for it. Give it a try. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, and another thing you can do and perhaps tomorrow at our Indian buffet they will have it, but like Indian okra to me is the best first of a lot of vegetables that people can have. Like cauliflower, if you grew up with cauliflower, chances are you grew up with overcooked cauliflower that smelled funny. Indian cauliflower is a beautiful, majestic beast. Mm-hmm. And I feel the same thing with okra. And it's always in a sauce, so you're not going to notice the slime factor, but you're just going to get this texture, and there's going to be all those beautiful Indian spices. So that's always my first introduction choice, you know, when I can. And I think that's how I got you to start eating cauliflower. Now you're like a cauliflower monster.
I've had cauliflower so many different ways in the past month that I have just absolutely loved. And so you guys are going to really love her andouille cauliflower. That stuff is good stuff.
It's really good.
I mean, you're basically putting some spices on top of some cauliflower, and I mean, it changes it, right? It makes it taste completely different.
It's very interesting. Like, that's one of the reasons I like spice blends. I like making them because I can make them without salt. I can really tweak them to exactly what I want, and you can use them so many different ways. And we're going to be talking about that more too. Kimberly, we're glad you made the live too. And Dawn, this is perfect. As a dessert, I use unsweetened cacao powder in my oatmeal with oat or almond milk and frozen fruit. Mm-hmm. And that's thank you for reminding me, because like a lot of times if we have leftover oatmeal, I will pull it out and eat that for dessert. There is no wrong way to do that. My favorite, and actually I didn't think about this either, the thing that's been killing me for the past 10 days is not having a sweet potato, and I've been craving them so much. But at night, I like to bake up a whole bunch of sweet potatoes and put them in the fridge. And that way, if I don't want to eat lunch or I'm just busy, I can just grab it and I'll eat it cold out of the fridge. But you can also then take that sweet potato, heat it up a little bit, or eat it cold. Sometimes I'll drizzle a little bit of maple syrup, or even just do some cinnamon or allspice or something. Mm-hmm. And I find it very...
Tastes like pie.
It's so good. It's like one of my absolute favorite things. And Davinka's eliminated bread, avocados and nuts for heart health and to cut fats. And we're getting some... Ooh, this sounds good. Susan says, okra tossed on the grill and cooked to one's preferred char is delightful. You know what I should do? Because I have whole okra that I got for the class to show what, because I usually just use cut up in the freezer, mostly because now is not okra season where I live too, but I went to H Mart and they had it. And I should try and do that. I should probably just maybe put a little aquafaba on or roast them, then toss them in a spice blend and see how that is. I bet it would be good. Delicious. That would be the easy way for me not to light the grill outside way to do that.
That carrot and salsa, I bet, would also be a cure for if you're a crunch eater.
Snacky. Yes, carrots and salsa sounds like great. And here's the thing. Again, I want to be real clear. If you're not overeating on fruit, you don't need to cut back the fruit probably, or if it's not keeping you from a goal. So on the McDougall program, you can eat fruit. So just for anybody else who may be thinking about it. So what happens, and Stacy and I talk about this, is on the web, and even like, let's say, plant-based dads, and I'm only using Joey for an example because I listened to his latest video yesterday. Sorry, Joey, I'm not trying to pick on you. And in fact, it's awesome because each person, like Chef AJ, also went through the Starch solution. Everybody starts in the same place, and then they tweak things for themselves. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's why Chef AJ eats greens in the morning. That's why Joey is now eating a higher protein. He's working with a trainer. He's doing something a little bit different. So everything is at McDougall for all the time. Mm-hmm. We all start at McDougall and then we go up different ways. Some of us go up the same place and we're still like on the McDougall tower. But, you know, just know that those things happen too. Okay. Have I ever used sweet corn blended as kind of sweet topping? In one of my cookbooks, I have a sweet corn butter. So yeah, I've made a sweet corn no oil butter.
You made ice cream.
Oh yeah, I made sweet cream ice cream. I don't know. I think this is on plantbasedinstantpot.com, and actually this is delightful. It does use sweetener, but you could change it to use dates or something else. I think I use brown sugar, which is closer to the sugar that was traditionally used, in a warm cinnamon corn drink called a tole. It's so good.
It is really good.
It is so good. And that same kind of blended thing made into a Ninja Creamy Pint is delightful as well. Oh, good. And let me see if I can see who. Let's see if that's on here. Oh, Peter Ann says, I like frozen okra and using gumbos, and I've had fried okra, which is really good. Oh, that's a great point, too. Davinka, if you look up, if Diana looks up brownie with black beans or sweet potato brownies, oftentimes some of those can be made without flours. Sometimes it depends on what other plan you may be doing. With starch solution, certainly you could use rolled oats. You can make like some little black bean, sweet potato kind of energy bites. They're different than energy. We're not going to put protein powder and all the other stuff up, but maybe I'll do something like that. You can find the golden gravy on healthyslowcooking.com. And that's where you can get the recipe. Yet corn can be blended up to thickened soup. Anything, because it's starch. Remember, we use cornstarch for a lot of things. So in the corn is lots of great yumminess. Aw, thanks, Justine. I appreciate that very much. And Penny, for Hannah yams, it's going to depend on where you live. So where I live in Durham, North Carolina, I saw them for the first time last year, and they were available for about 3 weeks. So if you're in California, I think they're more available. So I don't know and Justine has them in the Whole Foods where she lives. So I think it's where you are. We have lots of sweet potatoes. I can go to the Asian market and I can get some other ones. So I got some Japanese sweet potatoes. I got some Korean sweet potatoes. I got some white on the outside, purple on the inside. I have purple on the outside and purple on the inside ubis. But yeah, let's see. Okay, and we'll get to that. Let me come back. So. And I guess, yeah, I feel like I told my story fine.
Did you?
Yeah, I've just been tired and working a little bit too much, and I want this book to be done. And then I'm also hoping to get on a more regular live schedule next month. I thought I was going to do it this month, but Stacy is coming in for 2 lives. Hopefully we'll have Dr. Stephanie Peacock in again. I'm going to see if I can get Lisa to come in again. I'm going to try and do some more live demos. I've just been absolutely at capacity. But even if I just come in and make a slow cooker dinner that I'm making for myself and just make it up, I'm going to try and jump on at least once a week for that, and us check in once a week is the goal. It may not exactly happen. All right. We got here. I don't know if I'd say the best non-plastic or silicone steamer for the Instant Pot. There's a whole bunch. I can show you the one that I like. I think it's in here, back in here. No, it might still be in the dishwasher. It's in the dishwasher because I used it yesterday. I like this guy. And there is a link. I think I have it in the description, the link to my Amazon influencer store. And I tried it. Oh, here we go. It's avocado. AVOKADO. So I like this, but you can get the metal ones. I have a whole bunch of different ones. But yeah. Excuse me. And let's see.
Creamy.
Where?
Right there, Terry.
Oh, I already did
Terry. Down. There.
Ah, thank you. You guys can tell I need a little more sleep, huh? Ninja Creamy Italian Ice or on sorbet mode. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. So there's an Italian ice mode on the deluxe model. There's not on the original or the Breeze model. And I think all it does is maybe it goes a little bit faster. So I do believe I have a video that talks about Italian ice, and any of the Ninja Creamy Deluxe videos I have, I show you how to make exactly the same thing in the original. So you don't need the fancy settings. However, sometimes only the Deluxe is available. I have all 3 models. I may never get another model. I don't know yet. They really haven't been pushing it at all this year, and they haven't put it on sale this year.
I wonder if that's because it's not spring or summer yet.
Well, last year they didn't put it on sale. So it's pretty easy, and it's just, again, kind of like we were talking about with diets, it's getting to this minutia. Like literally, it's probably like, this is 0.75 microns smaller, the crystal on this one. Like it's really, really tiny. So I find them to come out pretty similarly. I don't know which waffle maker you should buy.
One that's easy to clean.
I have one that the plates go into the dishwasher, but the thing is if you're not spraying them with oil, which we aren't, it becomes way harder because sometimes they can still stick, and especially if you're doing something gluten-free and oil-free, it can be really hard. So what I would suggest, is if you're doing it that way, I would not get a Belgian waffle maker. That's what I have because I like my waffles tall and happy. But I'm not making waffles right now at all. So is it making me happy? The smaller one, it's just not going to be that much to clean. It's also, you don't have to get that kind of structure. And it's just a little bit easier. Also, a smaller one is going to be better for like tofu and things like that.
Or hash browns.
Yeah. Because the thicker it is, then it's got to cook all that way. And so then it's going to be crispy on the outside and gooey possibly on the inside. Those little Dash waffle makers are great. And I have some of the little ones like that. But I would love to find a better option than that. Okay, and again, even though I told Colleen this, just so you guys know, there's the vegan buffet in Sitar. It's in Chapel Hill, Durham area. What do we put in gumbo if no meat? There's all kinds of things. So the gumbo you can get right now on plantbasedinstantpot.com, which uses a dry roux, so you can read about that too. It uses mushrooms. You could use vegan sausage if you're not on a no oil diet. You could put in cauliflower to pose as shrimp gumbo. You could put shredded jackfruit. You could do chicken and shrimp gumbo. There's really no limit to the things you can do.
We had okra in ours.
Yeah, we did have. Well, okra is usually in most gumbos, but not always, but mostly.
It seemed like it might have kind of been the star of the dish this last time.
It was a little bit. It was mushroom. Well, I chop up the mushrooms a lot, so it's just kind of like, I don't know, just stuff in there. Udon noodles are made of wheat flour. And congratulations, Diana has been meeting some of her weight release goals, which is awesome.
Yay.
Yeah, and Davika, this is great. Joey of Plant Based Dads decided to go to this diet being the high protein diet with within the starch solution, meaning he's not going and eating meat or things like that either, because he had not lost weight in a long time, to increase his metabolism because he doesn't have a quick metabolism. And again, that's what we're talking about, these different towers. We all start, we graduate, we read the starch solution, we starch there, and then we tweak it for our own. It's both the way things should be and hard sometimes, because then people will say something is the starch solution that isn't. It's what they're doing. Joey's being incredibly clear about this. Mm-hmm. And I know just from being on the side where people ask questions without watching the whole really long video, is that I'm sure he's getting a lot of questions that he's answered. And Terry says, I'm going to be using your salt substitute, and my plain salt substitute, for those of you who can't have salt, 1 tablespoon onion powder, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon ground celery seed, mixed together, ground together, use as you would salt. I have added cauliflower to my mashed potatoes, but usually what I'll do is I kind of hoard my cauliflower, and then I'd rather make like a nice cauliflower soup or cauliflower sauce. But yes, it works great in together. I have a friend who does it that way. Let's see if I'm missing anything else. Ooh, having roasted potatoes in the fridge has been great for something to eat if I get hungry. Because I don't know about you guys, but one of the reasons I would eat more bad for me foods before we started eating this way is tortilla chips. Having tortilla chips in the house is hard. But if I don't have food cooked in the fridge and I had tortilla chips, that is something I can put in my gob as I waited way too long to eat. And so waiting a really long time to eat can make your food choices not so good. So you can do 2 things, one of 2 things. One is you can try and make sure you're eating when you're hungry, which I can't always do. But what I can do is make sure I have something really easy I can eat straight out of the fridge. And that's, again, why I have those cups that we just put things in. Did we miss anybody else?
Somebody had asked about jackfruit.
Yes, I think that's near the end. Someone's saying, what's easier to make, seitan or tempeh? Seitan. Mm-hmm. That would be my just because you can use seitan flour, like wheat gluten flour, and you just mix it up and knead it a little bit, and then you could use it. Tempeh is going to take 24 to 30 hours after you do all the things, too. So there's more stuff. Ooh, yeah, crunchy chickpeas or black beans and his congee, which is awesome.
Sounds good.
And, okay. And we talked about that. Oh, Robin's here from New Zealand. We want to go to New Zealand so bad, just so you know. We want to go see, you want to go see all the Lord of the Rings stuff. And I just want to go to New Zealand.
I want to go to Hobbiton. I want to go to the Hobbiton.
Alrighty. And if you have some last minute questions, we're going to be wrapping up real soon because I got to get to writing. I got to get to making a book so you guys have some fun stuff next month. I'm getting there. I know I'm getting there. There's a lot of questions. I went all the way back to make sure I didn't miss anything. What's jackfruit like? Jackfruit doesn't really have any flavor. It's a texture as well. It has even less flavor than okra. So it comes in these little chunks. The top part is denser. The bottom part, you just do like that, and it looks like shredded chicken. So usually what I do is I do that, and then I pick off the pieces, and it looks like shredded chicken with little chicken bits. And that's great in gumbo, soups, stews, chilies, so many different things. I have a bunch of jackfruit recipes. So if you look up jackfruit on healthyslowcooking.com, you'll find some good stuff there.
I like it when it's barbecue.
Yeah, and the trick to making the barbecue jackfruit is truly delightful. And it's so easy. So you can take this can, you're going to rinse it because it's usually in like salt water. And then you're going to, I like to manually pull it apart. If you cook it, then you can also kind of use potato masher and get it to squish apart too. And you can also put it in the food processor and pulse a couple of times, and that will also do it. So that is an option. Then toss it with some barbecue sauce. Put it in the air fryer. Then or oven, and then you want to move it around a lot, and you want to get it to a little bit crunchy or a little bit browned, and that has a really good texture. And Jill was saying you could shred it, flavor it, and textures like pulled pork. But it's the texture. It's also not very filling. It's very, very low calorie. It has no protein. People think because you're using it in place of meat, it's a protein-dense food, but it's not. But you can, like for the gumbo that I'm going to be making, I'm super excited about making the gumbo with jackfruit. And Jill's saying I can eat 3 potatoes and look for food in an hour, but how big are those potatoes? Are those potatoes like big, giant baking potatoes? Are they like, what was that place we used to get the baking potatoes? They were like this.
Oh, that McAllister's Deli.
Would have stuffed baked potatoes. So Dr. McDougall would say eat starch until you're satiated. If you're hungry again, eat again. Now, Stacy would say later on. So Stacy also does very clearly put things in a beginning stage and a later stage. So like when you're starting the 12-day program or you're starting the starch solution, you may eat more because your body's healing and getting used to things as well. So, and if you're not gaining weight doing that, and unless that's your goal, then, eat until you're hungry. I didn't see the other part of that. Kitty Mommy says Hannah yams can be labeled as white or gold sweet potatoes. They're called white sweet potatoes in her Kroger. We don't even have Kroger's anymore.
No,
they took them
we're
away.
Sad. We're so
replaced
sad.
them with Harris Teeters.
We're so sad. We missed the Kroger. And Harris Teeter owns Kroger, or Kroger owns Harris Teeter, and you would think that they would be kind of the same thing, but they're not.
Ooh, there's an Asian place that has mushroom broth pho that I like. Yum. That's great. Penny says, I fit 2 of the little potato bags in the green silicone basket. It worked great. Okay, awesome. And it's pretty cool. Is there a difference between purple sweet potatoes and purple yams? I'd have to see a picture. There are different kinds of purple sweet potato. I don't know if ube is considered a yam or a sweet potato, honestly. It might, just due to the size and shape, but I don't know for a fact. I would Google that. Oh, and Lisa's here. Yay! It's good to see you. Hey, Fran from Flagstaff, Arizona, watching my big screen. Oh, gosh. I'm so sorry.
Sorry for all the dog hair and cat hair.
Are you? Yeah, you may be seeing
You
a
can
lot of dog
probably
hair.
see all the dog hair and cat hair on us.
As I eat lunch, green salad and air-fried smashed potatoes. Love me some smashed potatoes. I made your golden gravy dry mix and used it yesterday. Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. And I made that gravy because I needed it. And Cheryl's always like, let's buy gravy mix. I'm like, there's so much crap in gravy mix that just doesn't need to be there. Like 7 kinds of sugar and all the salt.
You know why? It's because I like a brown gravy. And I want brown
And I'm going to
gravy.
make a brown gravy. So we've all...
Because I like rice and gravy, like Southern style with a brown gravy on it. She likes that chickeny flavored
Yeah, that's how
kind of gravy, and I like the brown stuff that's more
And video was
mushroomy.
saying, yeah, that the green strainer that I showed you, that's silicone. And Justine says, what kind of panini press do you have?
Oh, it's some off-brand thing, isn't it?
It does not have removable plates. I'm pretty sure it's something I just found on sale, but I will say it works great without oil. Everything just slides. I like using it for my shredded potatoes because even if there is a little bit, I just scrub it off. And then the other thing with a waffle maker and a panini press, take a white cloth a clean white cloth. I put water on it and I put it in. After I've taken it out, there's still enough heat. It steams, and then you can just wipe everything out. With the waffle maker, you still have nooks and crannies that you have to get in with little tools. But Always Learning likes her cheap Hamilton Beach waffle maker. Ooh, it makes 2 square-sized waffles at a time. I may have to check that out. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God, I think I'm losing it. I saw a bus go by your window and I looked up to see it go by my own window. And you thought you were sitting in front. Well, the thing is there is the big street is that way. That's our front yard. And so sometimes you will see things go by. And I know that can be disconcerting. See, like a little car just went by just now. You just never know. Robin asked, do I have a recipe for tofu pate? No, but I have one for black-eyed pea pate that uses pecans on healthyslowcooking.com. But if you email me and tell me more about what you're kind of looking for or looking to substitute it for, I can put that on the list. Penny says, since I've not snacked on my small potatoes, what could I do to freeze them, to have them later? Potatoes don't freeze well. It's just going to make it all weird. It's going to be like a bad breakup in your mouth. So I would recommend against it. What I would do, well, you know what I do? Okay, I'll take that back. If I had it and there's nothing else to do, I would cut them up into small pieces and I would air fry them into home fries or cut them in quarters, air fry them into home fries, and then freeze them. You don't notice the texture difference. That will take out some of the water, which will take out some of the distortion when it freezes and makes into crystals. It's not perfect, much better than a bad breakup in your mouth. Apple's here! Yay!
Apple. I'm jealous that you slept in.
Oh, I need a nap. Maybe I'll take a nap and then I'll work on the book. That didn't work yesterday. I didn't get either. I had a nap and I didn't work on the book.
I think Max went down back to bed when we started on this, so.
I think so, yeah. You notice Max
cozy.
isn't whining. He's like, it's raining outside, y'all. I'm sleeping. Carrie says, looking forward to the bundle. Me too. I already have one thing in there, but I want to make this. I've been wanting to make this new book anyhow, so I put a stress timer on it. And look, I got stress. Imagine that. Hey, Maggie. Oh, you just got your Arc Mirror Milk Maker. Amazon are clearing out the blue ones. That's the one I have and love. I picked up the newer version because it's with the see-through glass. What's your opinion on it? Oh. I've never used it. I only have the blue one. I think there's a blue and an aqua one. So I haven't tried the others at all.
Maybe you'll get one for your birthday.
I don't know if I want any more milk makers right now.
Okay.
But we'll see. If there's a big thing, because like seriously, I have all the milk. I have so many milk makers right now. I think at some point you have to call it. Same thing with slow cookers happen. Instant pots, we clear out different versions a lot. Mm-hmm. Shirley's saying Chuck Underwood has a great brown gravy. Cheryl wants me to make a brown gravy mix, and I think what it's going to be like, honestly, is like my beefy bouillon turned into a gravy mix. Ooh, Penny says for the potatoes first tonight I will smash them and air fry dinner. That's the other thing. I have smashed them, air fried them, and frozen them like that, and just cook them 3/4 of the way so that when you heat them up they won't burn. That works great too. Mm-hmm. Thank you for reminding me of that. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I think that we're kind of updated, and do you have anything else you want to say? Because you can tell, I'm not 100% yet.
Thank you for, being with us and cheering us on and wishing us to get better, because we really want to get better. Because I don't know how much longer we can both take brains being half there. So usually, like, if we're half brain, then both of our brains together make one. But right now, it's like...
It's not even worth trying.
Yeah, it's just they're off in two different directions and completely like going nutso. So as soon as I can get rid of this rattliness, I think I'll feel better, because I always feel like I don't sound like myself on calls and stuff right now.
And I'm just a little stuffed up, but mostly I think I'm just a little tired. So I'm hoping to get a few things done and take a little nap and get a few more things done. So sometimes you have to eat the frog. So they say. We could say eat, I don't know what we would replace that with, but basically you do the thing you don't want to do and kind of get it on over
Eat,
with.
insert whatever vegetable you don't like there. Like eat the onion. For me, it would be eat the onion.
Okay. We can work with that. I'll have to think about that when I have a clear head. Well, Monique, I'm glad you had fun. And we're so much better.
Absolutely, you can
Penny,
email me.
Yeah, Penny wants to email. So if you guys want to get in touch, if you have questions about heartbeat, you're having issues with something like that, email support@healthyslowcooking.com. And it goes to Cheryl, so be nice.
Yeah.
And when you email me, it goes to me.
But she may not get to it for a while. So if it's really important and you really need an answer, email support@healthyslowcooking.com because I keep up on my part a little bit more because I don't get as much as she gets.
Right, and then I'm also on all the platforms trying to answer the questions too. So like I try to come back here on YouTube and answer questions and on Facebook, and that's why at some points I'm trying to funnel all these questions to Heartbeat as much as possible, the general questions that happen later, not the questions that happen during lives because I love those. Lydia hopes we both get to take a nap. And me too. Eat the natto. I like that. So oh my God, she's not had natto.
What is natto?
It's fermented soybeans. So if y'all are worried about the okra slime, it is just slime. It is balls of slime. It really looks very snotty.
Okay.
I've had it in sushi rolls. I mean, it's good for you. But no, she can never have that. I like that. Apple's sending us lots of love. Hugs and healing. Dawn appreciates all of our help. Okay, you guys, so let's all go do something nice for ourselves. Take a nap, take a walk, drink your water, do all the things, and we will see you here back very, very soon, okay?
Bye, everybody.